Good day to everyone. My name is Rommel, and we're going to talk about communication and its classifications. So what is communication? Communication is the process of sending and receiving messages in order to share meanings. The communication process involves two or more people interacting verbally and non-verbally in order to understand each other's feelings, ideas, and attitudes. There are three classifications of communication. Number one here is communication according to mode. Number two is communication according to context. And number three is communication according to purpose and style. Now let's welcome Jenny to explain the communication according to mode.
Thank you, Romel. So, verbal and nonverbal communication. Verbal communication is using speech or spoken word to exchange emotion and thought, while nonverbal communication is conveying and exchanging message without the use of spoken word. The difference between verbal and nonverbal communication is the communication in which the sender uses words to transmit message to the receiver is known as verbal communication. The communication that takes place between sender and receiver with the use of the sign is known as nonverbal communication. Jervia, can you tell us what is visual communication?
Thank you, Miss Jenny. So what does visual communication means? It is the use of visual elements to convey ideas and information which include but are not limited to signs, typography, drawing, graphic design, illustration, and industrial design. So humans have used visual communication since prehistoric times. Some examples of visual communication are animated GIFs, pictures, movies, pie charts, and animations. Moving on, please introduce to us what are the types of communication according to context, Rommel.
Thank you, Jervia. Here are the 5 types of communication according to context. First here is intrapersonal. So what is intrapersonal? It's a communication with ourselves through internal vocalization and thoughts. It happens when people communicate with themselves. For example, you're silently reading a book inside the library room. Up next is interpersonal. Here is Jervia again to explain what this is.
So what is interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is an exchange of information between two or more people. It is also an area of research that seeks to understand how humans use verbal and nonverbal cues to accomplish a number of personal and relational goals. Although interpersonal communication is most often between pairs of individuals, it can also be extended to include small intimate groups such as the family. Now here is Rayzel to talk about intercultural.
In intercultural communication, people of one culture try to know the information conveyed to them by other cultures. For example, in a hotel establishment, the hotelers assess their customers' requirements, taste, and provide services accordingly. The customers also inform the hotelers of their need. Would you like to tell us the extended communication, Prix?
Thank you, Ms. Rayzel. So what is extended communication? Extended communication is an explicit instructional approach that expects students to utilize constructive conversation skills to communicate their thinking and knowledge. There are 2 types of extended communication. The first one is application of a metacognitive strategy, and the second one is the knowledge to topic or text. Extended examples are used when the presenter is discussing a more complicated topics that they think their audience may be unfamiliar with. So that is extended communication. Let's welcome back Grant to tell us what's the last type of communication according to context.
Organizational communication takes place among members of an organization, like in meetings, interviews, group activities, and family occasions. Examples is our group decides to discuss first on what should we do before we did this report. And that's the 5 types of communication according to context. Here is Miss Dimples to explain the last type of communication.
Communication according to purpose and style. Formal communication and informal communication. Formal communication occurs in formal and official style. Certain rules are followed. It uses correct grammar and sentence structure. It can be in the form of letters, memos, classroom discussions, traditional writing. For example, is a request, command, or orders report. On the other hand, informal communication is just a casual talks. It happens among friends and family. It uses slang words. It does not have to have a correct grammar, spelling, or sentence structure. It can be a text, chat, greetings, abbreviation, casual conversation, and cards. Sharing of feelings is an example, or gossips with friends. So that is all. I hope you'll understand the communication and its classification. If there is any clarification, feel free to ask.